450 episodes. I cannot believe it, and I'm here to deliver a value-filled solo episode. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and this is That Entrepreneur Show, the number one podcast for small business owners, entrepreneurs, and high achievers to connect the dots in an industry that has no textbook or a blueprint. It's already been a chaotic year in entrepreneurship. I'm sure many of you can relate. The constant ups and downs, the new tasks heading to the top of the never-ending to-do list. But I am excited to keep this show going. Some cool announcements coming up. To start out May and June, maybe July, I'm not positive yet, but definitely May and June, we will have the first 7 days of the month hit you with a new episode. We have had an overwhelming and really humbling amount of incoming and connections requests, even outgoing as well with me, where people want to join the show. We're still, unfortunately, not accepting nearly half of the requests, but we're getting a lot of people, and I don't want to keep them waiting too long to share their story. So look out for some power weeks coming to start May and June. If you want to get involved and share your story on the show, please know Danica is always eager to let me know who we have applying. Email her at podcasts, plural, by Lanci, podcastsbylanci@gmail.com. Entrepreneurship in my life. I know I don't do solo episodes enough, so I'm really happy to be here. We're dealing with a whole lot of good and, of course, challenging. As you grow as an entrepreneur, the challenges continue to grow as well, right? New levels in the video game, if you will. Things continue to grow. The exciting things we've had is I Want to Start a Podcast, the book, come out right after around the holidays. Pod O'Clock is getting ready to have season 2 come back in the beginning of June. So we're all in podcasting and helping people launch podcasts on their own, just like I did. ComingAlive podcast production, my baby, right, has continued to grow, and not all of them are live. There's so many in the kitchen right now whipping up these episodes, and I can't wait for all of them to get out. We're finding a lot of health-related clients, and we're getting very close to some potential public niches, right? Niching down again as a TBI survivor, working with healthcare organizations and professionals, independent physicians, helping them share their story, their message has become so meaningful. And now that my shows are growing, a mental health break, top 5% in the globe, that entrepreneur show, top 2.5%, we're continuing to have new lessons learned and adding value to our clients that way. A big shout out to my entire team, all podcasters on the front end of my squad. We're not a social media company offering podcast services. We are all podcasters helping others podcast. So stay tuned and connect with me on LinkedIn. Vincent A. Lanci, MBA. If you want to see some live streams of these shows, I also post during the months the client shows, the latest episodes. I share my shows still, but more specifically on those show pages, like right here on That Entrepreneur Show. A lot of great stuff coming your way. We're bringing back some past guests too. So some fan favorites are coming back, including Pusha Preem, who just hit number 1 in the billboards. He's doing incredible things, a Tampa entrepreneur. We've talked about some things that are coming up with the show, those cool power weeks, which I'm so excited to share. We've talked a little bit about my journey in entrepreneurship and what I have going on. Of course, we want to get some new books out there, but right now we're doing the book coaching, and it is a book coach. I have a really exciting book coming out shortly with a Boston Red Sox player. We're getting ready to release this, but we're still working on some of the last details and the final edits. I can't wait to announce more about that, but this show isn't about me. This show is for you. And since you don't have a guest on this show, I have some podcast tips and some entrepreneur tips to help you grow in your journey. I have some unique experiences to share as well, but I want to make sure we're adding value before I get there and start talking about my journey as well. Although there are lessons learned there as they have come from me having to go to small claims court for the first time as a business owner. Lot of lessons learned I have to share from there. But first, let's talk about some tips. If you follow me on social media, recently had a post that talked about some hacks that really have made an invaluable difference in my life. Time blocking. This sounds silly, and I know these things don't become habits until you do them for about 3 weeks, but before bed, every night, get a whiteboard so you're not just wasting paper. And I'm a post-it guy, so I try to use the whiteboard as much as I can. Whatever your hours are. For me, I'm a big 3 a.m.er. In my desk by 4 the latest, and I go as late as I need to. My day typically goes 12 hours, but I have other meetings, sales calls, podcast recordings that sometimes can't be filled in that slot. 3-4-5-, right? Time blocking each hour, right? Each minute even. You'll usually finish tasks quicker and have a few minutes at the end, but also doing a time audit, right? Really seeing how much time I was wasting when I first started doing this was really mind-blowing, right? I couldn't believe how much time I was wasting and how much more you get done when you visually put it out there and you could see exactly what to do. And of course, penciling in your breaks, your short breaks, your meals, your walks, if you take a nap, whatever you do to get through your day. These little breaks, you have to pencil them in so you hold yourself accountable and you check it off as you go through the day. We check because we get that momentum. At the very top, before your first hour, your most immediate tasks that you have to do before your meeting. That includes not checking email, not checking social media, focusing, getting your stuff done, going on Do Not Disturb until you're done with your work. As you're checking those off, even making your bed, having a glass of water, for me, having a banana and a clementine, doing these things, getting my day going in that production, that accomplished mode. Time blocking next. Social media timers have been a thing for me for years. Really, ever since my company started making money. We don't need to be scrolling social media all day. You can get your news in many areas. For me, social media has many rabbit holes, and I'm not concerned with what comments are saying or really anything, but providing value to my audience, sharing posts about my life as well. I had feedback that people would like to see more of my personal life, so I share some pictures of me, share some pictures of my company, and of course some tips through the videos, the podcast, or some tips I put out there. These tips, I mean, they sound simple, but the best part about them, everyone, they're free. It costs no money to get any of these things implemented in your life. Very, very powerful stuff, and I challenge you to go out there and get it done. Morning routines, we talked about the time blocking. In that early, before 3 a.m., sometimes now, and I'm finding this to even give me more productivity because it's a new, fresh look at things, I start time blocking at 7 to 6 because I've had these later calls, and then before 7, I have the things I need to get done, those important tasks, but then I also write out my meditation, my reading 10 pages because I'll never finish books if I don't set micro goals there. And then, of course, leading into my 7 a.m. non-negotiable exercise followed by quick breakfast and hit the ground running. Those three things, have changed my life. Because we are coming up, everyone, on 10 years in entrepreneurship. I can't believe it. I mean, wow. I spoke at my MBA commencement back in May 2015. Here we are coming up on May 2025 as we are all in on podcasting. And if you're out there, you want to get started on your own podcast, remember Pod O'Clock is a free resource. Pod O'Clock podcast. It's out there on all major platforms. But in addition to that, we have the book, I Want to Start a Podcast, but I'm going to give you 8 things you need to focus on. 8 first steps to get your podcast started today. Before you could schedule people, before you could record, right? Let's get started. What are your podcast goals? Your podcast why? Your podcast name? Your podcast format? The podcast structure? The podcast look? Who is your podcast audience, and which areas of value will your podcast deliver? Again, that's podcast value. Who is your podcast audience? Podcast look, structure, your podcast format, the name. And again, when you're picking a name, make sure you open social media. Search it on all social media platforms so you stay consistent and relevant in all areas. I did not do that, and I'm still paying the price by not having all my socials linked. Your podcast why and your podcast goals. Those are 8 steps you need to get started, and you're well on your way to launching an awesome show. I want to end this with you. Which questions do you want to hear asked on this show? Please tell me. What would you like me to ask guests? As you know, we do the 3 phases of more recent time. Before entrepreneurship, why'd you choose the industry? Entrepreneurship right now, value, tips, target customers, and then what's next along with which entrepreneur you would like to speak with throughout history. Which questions would you like me to sprinkle in? Please leave it in the comments. Email the team, podcasts, plural, podcasts by Lanci at gmail.com, and message me on any social, Vincent A. Lanci. I want to ask these guests what you want to hear. I'm very grateful for your continued support. Never did I once dream this could be a top 2.5% global podcast, leading me into a few global shows and owner of an amazing podcast production company that is growing and scaling and having amazing clients, but an amazing team to work alongside. I'd love to connect with you on a better and more close basis, learn more about you, how we can help. Let's have a free call. Go to my Calendly, calendly.com/Vincent A. Lanci. Book a discovery call. There's no charge there. I want to see what you're up to, how we can help each other, and perhaps maybe have you on the pod, right? Waive the appearance fee for you if you say you heard it on this podcast episode. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and I can't thank you enough for tuning in. If you want to learn more about me, VincentALanci.com, Vincent A. Lanci on all social media. We've covered a lot, like what's next for the show, some lessons learned, and everything in between. But I promised you one thing at the end. It's an experience that I'm going through. I'm in small claims court now, fighting for my company. Eventually, you have to learn to stand up for yourself, and I challenge you too as business owners. You know the value you bring. You know how you're doing the right things. Please don't let people take advantage of you. Well, in this appearance, this court process, it's a lot like entrepreneurship. You need resilience. You can't give up. I have already had to go to court in a different county, right? Carving out time in my day 5 times because of court documents and tasks and having to file new addresses to find these people. It has truly been an up and down roller coaster, just like owning a business. The lessons I've learned is that if you go to small claims court, you need to have a statement of claim and a cover sheet. Those are the 2 things you need to get started, especially if you're here in Hillsborough County. You go to the Hillsborough County 13th Circuit Court website and get the statement of claim and the civil cover sheet. Those are the 2 things you need to open your case. Everyone, thank you for your support throughout this. And please, if you're going to use Stripe, please know that even if you completed your service and you sent a certificate of completion and they acknowledge the completed service via email and text where you did the right thing and the service was done, Stripe will help the person filing it, and it is a true shame because I know so many other business owners throughout this experience who Stripe has hurt. But with every negative situation, if you persevere through, good things can happen. And since this happened, she was only my 2nd client, and now we're starting to scale because there are good people out there who will believe in you and believe in your mission as long as they are aligned. I challenge everyone to never give up. If you've been following me from the beginning, you know how long it's taken me as we're celebrating 10 years soon. I'll stop by with you again soon. This is That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for stopping by, and please remember to subscribe so I can see you again soon, and you can catch the next entrepreneur coming your way here next week.